right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Incarceration confusion. Tonight, questions surrounding Illinois' plan for pretrial monitoring when cash bail goes away next week.
Temperatures in the mid-80s this afternoon, but that cold front, it is looming. It's going to impact us in the next 24 hours if it brings any rain, and just how cool our temperatures get just ahead.
First tonight, a tribute for 3 teenagers killed in a car crash. One grieving mother's message to their friends and peers.
Things like this can be avoided and none of us will be grieving.
Thanks for joining us after the game tonight. I'm Brent Solomon. Mike Bush has the night off. Tonight, the community gathering in Stacy Park in Olivet to remember the 3 sophomores from Ladue High School. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the driver was speeding and veered off of the roadway, crashing into a home early Wednesday morning. 5 on Your Side's Laura Bachesky was there for tonight's balloon release. Fill us in, Laura.
Yeah, Brent, the sheer number of people that showed up to honor these teens was amazing. They shared memories and ended the vigil on a high note.
Dion Robinson, Johnny Ursary, and Demetrius Ingram, all sophomores at Ladue Horton Watkins High School, forever teenagers.
They changed my life. It was the brother that I always wanted. Always, no matter if they looked up to me, I looked up to them too.
The car crash happened in University City, killing all 3 of them, leaving hundreds of people in mourning. Johnny's mom, Lynette, spoke directly to other teens in the crowd, asking them to look out for each other.
There is no such thing as a snitch. We need to do away with that. And we need to understand that it's important. Drop a tip if you don't want to tell somebody else that will tell. So that things like this can be avoided and none of us will be grieving.
Demetrius was known by his friends and close family as Meech, living every day to the fullest.
In any way you all can live, they can live through you, do this.
Dion's father, Brandon, says they were always laughing together and wants them to be remembered like that.
That's what brought them together. They sense of humor. They were silly. Love to make people laugh.
Officials from the school wanted students to know the community and counselors are there for them, and it's okay to grieve together and ask for help.
We are Ladue. Each and every day, we are Ladue. And Ladue showed up to honor these 3 young lives.
And all together, they said their goodbyes as green and black balloons drifted into the skies.
If you'd like to help the families, have a GoFundMe. They have several GoFundMes for funeral costs. We have links on our website, KSDK.com, if you'd like to donate. Brent.
Laura, thanks. Breaking news tonight out of central Illinois. Several people are hurt after a large explosion and fire at the ADM plant in Decatur. The blast, we're told, shook nearby homes. ADM confirmed several employees had to go to the hospital, but did not say how many or the severity of their injuries. No word on a cause at this hour. The agricultural processing plant employs nearly 5,000 people. Tonight, we know the identities of the man and woman killed in a drive-by shooting near a Jennings shopping center. They are 30-year-old Demetrius Jackson and 31-year-old Reginald Brandy. They were found shot inside of their car on West Florissant near Buzz Westfall Plaza around 12:45 yesterday afternoon. Tonight, police are still searching for the car where the shots came from. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. Illinois' criminal justice system undergoes a massive overhaul 1 week from tomorrow when it becomes the first state in the nation to end the use of cash bail. Tonight, our political editor Mark Maxwell has new details on a surveillance program some critics warn could make mass incarceration worse.
Many criminal justice advocates are highly skeptical of an over-reliance on GPS ankle monitors. The Illinois courts just launched a new electronic monitoring program 3 weeks ago, and 1 week from Monday, they'll go live in 70 Illinois counties, preparing for the changes that come in criminal courts as Illinois ends money bond.
The judge can decide if electronic monitoring is an appropriate form of release.
Today, James Kilgore is an activist and researcher for media justice. Years ago, he wore a GPS ankle monitor out on parole after serving 6.5 years in prison for a crime committed in the 1970s.
It's a major development. Nationally, Illinois is the first state to eliminate cash bond. It's also the first state to ever implement an electronic monitoring program, a pretrial electronic monitoring program on this scale.
He's watching closely as Illinois rolls out its new program. In a new column, Illinois' Office of Statewide Pretrial Services Director Kara Lefevre-Smith said her office enrolled the first defendant onto our active GPS electronic monitoring program August 20th. The next day began the process of assuming responsibility for 200 more. She called the state-level program a first in Illinois history, but also described operational challenges in managing an extraordinary amount of data.
And I think there's a recipe for a lot of confusion and generally when confusion happens, it's the people who are impacted who pay the price for that confusion.
Kilgore and other activists in the group End Money Bond argue against electronic monitoring or e-carceration, warning of extensive harms it said could expand mass incarceration.
These devices are not very accurate. We have dozens, in fact, hundreds of cases of false alerts.
Administrators overseeing these devices get an alert anytime there's a low battery, if a defendant leaves an approved area, if the GPS signal goes out, or if a defendant may be tampering with the device. Counties that participate in this state-level program can start to use these GPS ankle monitors at no cost to the county government starting 1 week from Monday.
Tomorrow marks 22 years since the September 11th attacks. Remembrance ceremonies will be held all across the country and here in the St. Louis area to remember the nearly 3,000 people killed that day. Terrorists hijacked 4 airliners to take down the Twin Towers at the World Trade Center, along with an attack at the Pentagon. The 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. It's believed it was headed to the U.S. Capitol or the White House. Today, first responders from across the region climbed the steps of Enterprise Center. The Clayton 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb is an annual event honoring the lives of the 343 New York firefighters, 8 EMS workers, and the 71 NYPD officers who died at the World Trade Center. The number of stairs they climbed has significance.
So today, the climbers are looking to get right at about 110 floors. 110 floors represents the height of the World Trade Centers whenever they came down on 9/11.
The stair climb also raised money for charities that support first responders. Well, developing tonight, we could be just 4 days away from automakers walking off the job at plants all across the country. They're threatening to go on strike if 3 major U.S. automakers don't meet their demands. Today, GM workers in Wentzville held this rally, demanding better pay and benefits. Currently, workers there are only eligible for a 6% raise with no pension. The UAW is calling for a 46% pay raise, a 32-hour work week, and the return of traditional pensions. General Motors' latest counterproposal includes a 10% wage hike.
To have 3 companies make $250 million in the last 10 years and act like they can't afford anything. It's ridiculous.
United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain called GM's offer insulting. If there is no contract agreement, UAW workers will go on strike Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Here's how this will affect you. Economists predict a strike will decrease inventory, which will drive up the price of cars. Just hours ago, a different type of traveling circus wrapped up its stop in St. Louis. The Flotsam River Circus gave its final free performance on the Mississippi River under the MacArthur Bridge. The troupe says it was forced to move from Laclede's Landing after the mayor's office asked them to cease performances. A record raise in 2023, but can Social Security recipients expect another big bump next year? We verify. History implodes. The reason an old Missouri bridge came crumbling down.
Over the last week, we've gone from lows in the mid-70s overnight, lows in the 60s and even 50s, but we're going to continue to go down, well below average. How cold that gets and what it feels like over the next few mornings.
Tonight, the manhunt for an escaped inmate in Pennsylvania has widened. Authorities say Danilo Cavalcante was spotted last night on a home's doorbell camera outside of their search perimeter. They say the convicted murderer changed his appearance. Investigators also recovered a van he stole. Tonight, our Verified team is looking into Social Security benefits. Recipients will soon find out how much more they'll receive next year. But will they see another near-record increase? Here's Brandon Lewis.
This year, Social Security recipients received the largest cost of living adjustment to their monthly benefits in more than 40 years, an increase of nearly 9%. Verified viewer John emailed us to ask if the cost of living adjustment is expected to be as much as 2023. So John, let's verify. Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Senior Citizen League, and the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College. This year's increase was so large because Social Security is required to keep pace with inflation, which skyrocketed in 2022. But this year, inflation has started to normalize. The Senior Citizens League and Center for Retirement Research estimate the 2024 cost of living adjustment will be around 3%, or about $60 a month for an average retiree. That's still more than an average year, but nowhere near what we saw last year. So, no, the cost of living adjustment in 2024 is not expected to be as much as 2023. Social Security will release the official cost of living adjustment for next year in October. Whether you're Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
And if you have a Verify segment idea, just email us at verify@ksdk.com. Take a look at your screen now. Tonight, a historic bridge in Missouri is no more. The old Missouri River Bridge in Rocheport came down this morning with a bang. The 63-year-old bridge along I-70 carried more than 12.5 million vehicles every year. But in recent years, it's been rated in poor condition. Crews will now remove 6 million pounds of steel and debris in order to begin construction on a new eastbound bridge. A heads up tonight for drivers planning to take I-64 in West St. Louis County this week. Here's 5 on your side's Paul Cook with tonight's On the Move.
I'm 5 on your side, Traffic Chief Paul Cook on the move. 6440 at Ballas has been a new problem area for motorists over the past few weeks. Well, there's more to come, and it's all about drainage work along the middle of the interstate. Officials have been very aware of drainage issues and the ponding factor on the inside left lanes ever since reworking them in a huge $500 million project in 2007, which took 3 years. You may remember what it was like. Those inside lanes before that project during wet weather were treacherous. Splash over onto the other side of the highway. It was scary. The new project is further to the west on 64, right at Ballas, and they're working to tackle drainage issues again in the inside lanes. MoDOT will close the inside lane on both eastbound and westbound 64 at Ballas for a month starting Monday evening. This is a long-term lane closure, so drivers who use Interstate 64 in St. Louis County should be prepared. MoDOT tells us, weather permitting, crews will close those lanes tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Again, one lane in each direction will remain closed around the clock until mid-October. So if you're traveling that stretch of road, especially during the morning and evening commute, consider the alternatives of Olive or 44. That's On the Move. I'm Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
All right, Paul, we appreciate it. Time now for your weather first forecast. Meteorologist Gary Frank standing by. What a lovely weekend. We hope that's only an indication of what's to come.
Yeah, we like these weekends where the temperatures are like this, low humidity. It's still warm enough to be able to enjoy, but cool enough to open up the windows at night. You know, this Goldilocks time frame before we really get into the significant changes of fall. And I think that's going to be the case over the next few days. As we look outside right now, it's pretty quiet here. Overall temperatures have cooled down once again. Not quite as cool as they were 24 hours ago at this time. 75. It is calm. Our high was 85. Our normal is 83. So pretty close in the morning and afternoon in terms of our normals. And that's where we're going to expect right now. As we look at 75 in the city, a little cooler outside, 60s. So we can still open those windows. Overall, that's indicative of what's going on. But that cold front still 65 versus 75 here. And we have this little surge of moisture, and you'll see that where those storms are starting to develop along that front. And that's what's going to impact us tomorrow. I'm actually impressed with how these storms are holding together given the dry air that's in place. These are helping to saturate the lower levels of the atmosphere that we kind of have. With our dew points have been in the mid-50s for the most part. They're starting to come up just a notch. You'll see some of these localized numbers in the low 60s just a little bit, but we'll start to see more of that. And that's going to give us our best chance for this range to reach the surface. Otherwise, overnight, it's just adding cloud cover for us. So that's going to keep our temps up maybe just a little bit. We won't have any rain tonight. Temps in the upper 50s, low 60s, a few clouds. And for tomorrow morning, I don't think that you're going to wake up to any rain. It's just going to be dry still. So far, our weather first fact tonight is this is the 45th driest start to September. Not all that impressive, but when you look at 1/1600ths of an inch so far, when you look at the extended forecast here, that's why we start to think about that a little bit more. So tomorrow, Paul will not be tracking rain for you in the morning, but it will be cloudier, which is probably a little bit better in terms of driving conditions, but rain on the way home. And that's where, as we work our way into the low 80s, we'll see that rain. How does this play out? I think by 3 or 4, some of our western areas, and then it spreads through our area. These are light showers, maybe a pocket of heavier rain here and there and a rumble of thunder, and that fizzles out by the next morning. I think overall, potential rainfall is not all that impressive. There could be some pockets where you can get a little bit more. Overall, it's 1/4 of an inch or less on average. And as we look at our drought monitor, it's starting to creep back in. Some lower levels of drought. I think that's going to spread further the next 10 days. As we look at 83 tomorrow, early showers, we're in the 70s. So if you've liked these last few days, we've got numbers in the upper 70s, low to mid 50s, and then it's a little warmer next weekend, but we still don't have that surge of humidity or heat that we've been so used to in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think we like it. It's a consensus. Gary, thanks. Reviving hope in North St. Louis tonight, the local pastor making a difference by transforming a forgotten neighborhood.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
A long-ignored St. Louis neighborhood is being transformed. As we first told you last June, a local pastor is helping to turn neglect into new beginnings.
Count down from 3. Whenever we're done, scoop your dirt.
In the heart of the city, where history and neglect collide,
3, 2,
a groundbreaking ceremony ignites a spark of hope.
It's like a breath of fresh air to see it come to fruition.
Today is a really, really good day.
Plans are announced for a multi-million-dollar development that will bring 15 new homes and 11 rehabs to Hebert Street in the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood. And the architect of this vision,
and give thanks to God,
is Pastor Andre Alexander of the nonprofit Tabernacle Community Development Corporation.
That was a day that was 6 years plus in the making of trying to bring it together.
Alexander graduated from Mizzou with a degree in electrical engineering and went to work for a defense contractor. But after moving back to St. Louis to be closer to family, his journey took an unexpected turn.
Started spending time with our pastor in our church my wife grew up in, and we just really connected.
Alexander now serves as senior pastor of the Tabernacle Church in a neighborhood with more than 2,000 vacant properties. And it didn't take long to learn his neighbors' priorities.
Housing was at the top of that list. We want safe, secure places to live. We want to be able to walk down our neighborhood and be safe.
Only 2 years after opening his church, Pastor Andre traded in his pulpit for a PowerPoint. He started the nonprofit looking for investors to address the vacancy problem.
Here's the message I want people to take away from it, is that our neighborhoods are worth investing in. I know what we see. I know what we hear. Our challenges are real. I would never minimize them. But there are also solutions.
The Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood was once home to Coca-Cola and Sportsman's Park, home of the Cardinals and Browns. Now, out of the shadow of disinvestment, longtime residents are finally seeing some light.
Some people come in, do one project, and they're gone. And he is committed to this area this neighborhood and these people. And, you know, and that means everything to us.
The new homes will be designated for families who make below 80% of the area median income.
You hear churches talk about, you know, they want to help the community, want to help people, and it be talk. But to actually see it in action and to see it in motion has been amazing.
And so our mission is all about serving people.
Using a blueprint of compassion and determination, Pastor Andre Alexander is helping to turn vacant lots into affordable housing.
What we really see over the next 15, 20 years is a thriving community of people from all different types of backgrounds.
Showing us all that hope takes shape, one brick at a time.
I can't wait to see what's next.
A reminder, if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference for others, just let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com.
Well, dozens of area kids competed today in one of the country's only adaptive triathlons. St. Louis Children's Hospital held its Try My Best triathlon at WashU. Organizers say it's an opportunity for adaptive athletes to be a part of the action and not on the sidelines. Still ahead, haunted by the economy, the new survey giving a spooky outlook for retailers and even trick-or-treaters. The rate of inflation is not as scary as it was a year ago, but it's still spooking Americans this Halloween. According to Power Reviews, 73% of Americans say their Halloween shopping will be impacted by economic challenges. 34% plan to buy cheaper candy for trick-or-treaters. 24% plan to reuse or recycle old costumes. That's all of our time. For 5 on your side at 10. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 in the morning. Now here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.